China is famous for its Great Wall, ancient dynasties, and some of the most mind-blowing cuisine on Earth. But what if I told you that deep in its forests, mountains, and rivers, there are creatures so bizarre, so mysterious, and so ridiculously cool that they could star in their own fantasy movie? From a fish that can walk on land to a bear that refuses to act like a bear, China's wildlife is a mix of beauty, power, and sheer weirdness. What you're about to see is wilder than any kung fu legend. The giant panda, the bear that won't bear. If pandas had a life motto, it would be, "Why be a predator when you can just snack and nap?" Technically, these black and white fluff balls are bears, but they gave up on eating meat long ago in favor of an all-bamboo diet. And here's the thing. Bamboo is basically the fast food of the plant world. Low in nutrients and requires a ridiculous amount to stay full. That's why pandas eat up to 80 pounds of it per day. They also sleep for half the day to conserve energy, making them nature's laziest fitness influencers. And just when you think they couldn't get any weirder, female pandas are only in the mood for romance about 3 days a year. If timing was an Olympic sport, pandas would lose every time. The Chinese water deer, the fanged Bambi. At first glance, the Chinese water deer looks like a normal, harmless little deer. But then, it opens its mouth, and suddenly you're face to face with what looks like a vampire. Instead of antlers, male Chinese water deer grow long, curved fangs that can reach 2 inches in length. They use these to battle for territory and mates, turning the usually innocent image of a deer into something straight out of a horror movie. But don't worry, these tiny vampires are completely harmless to humans. They prefer munching on plants and running at ridiculous speeds when startled. Just try not to imagine them biting into a pumpkin like Dracula. The golden snub-nosed monkey, the fluffiest drama queen. If you've ever wondered what would happen if nature designed a monkey specifically for a high-fashion photo shoot, the golden snub-nosed monkey is your answer. With its thick golden fur and sky-blue face, it looks like it was styled by a celebrity hairdresser. But don't let the glamorous look fool you. These monkeys are dramatic. Their social groups are full of betrayals, alliances, and loud arguments, making their daily lives more intense than a soap opera. And while most monkeys prefer warmer climates, these guys live in some of the coldest forests in China. Their thick fur acts like a built-in winter coat, keeping them toasty while they leap through the snowy treetops like fuzzy acrobat. The Chinese giant salamander, the living fossil. If you thought dinosaurs were extinct, think again. The Chinese giant salamander has been around for over thousands of years and still looks like something that crawled out of prehistoric times. Growing up to 6 feet long, it's the world's largest amphibian and one of the weirdest. It breathes through its skin, spends its life lurking in dark riverbeds, and communicates using eerie underwater barking sounds. Yes, this thing literally barks like a dog, but underwater. And despite looking like an ancient monster, it's actually a slow-moving, shy creature that just wants to be left alone. Unfortunately, it's now critically endangered, proving that even thousands of years of survival skills aren't enough to escape human interference. The Siberian tiger, the king of stealth. Lions may be called the king of the jungle, but if there were an actual ruler of the wild, it would be the Siberian tiger. Found in the forests of northeastern China, this is the biggest, baddest cat on the planet. Weighing up to 600 pounds and stretching over 10 feet long, Siberian tigers can take down prey as large as an ox with one powerful strike. But what makes them truly terrifying? Their stealth. They can disappear into the trees like ghosts, silently stalking their prey before launching an attack with explosive speed. And unlike their lazy zoo relatives, wild Siberian tigers cover hundreds of miles in search of food. They don't just rule the forests, they own them. The Chinese alligator, the tiny but tough dinosaur. Most alligators prefer warm, swampy climates, but the Chinese alligator decided to be different. This smaller, highly endangered species braves the cooler regions of China's Yangtze River, proving that size isn't everything. Unlike its American cousin, which grows up to 15 feet long, the Chinese alligator maxes out at about 6 feet. But what it lacks in size, it makes up for in sheer toughness. It can survive freezing temperatures by burying itself in mud and entering a hibernation-like state, waiting patiently for warmer weather. Basically, it's a mini dinosaur with built-in survival skills. The red-crowned crane, the symbol of immortality. In Chinese mythology, the red-crowned crane is a symbol of luck, longevity, and wisdom. In reality, it's one of the most graceful birds on Earth, known for its elaborate courtship dances that look like a perfectly choreographed ballet. These massive birds can stand over 5 feet tall and have wingspans reaching 8 feet. They migrate across vast distances, but their populations are dwindling due to habitat loss. Despite their elegance, red-crowned cranes are surprisingly tough. They thrive in harsh wetlands, endure icy winters, and defend their nests with powerful beak strikes. They might look like delicate dancers, but cross one, and you're in for a feathery fight. The Pika, the real-life Pikachu. If you've ever looked at a Pika and thought, that looks like Pikachu, you're not alone. This tiny, round-eared rodent inspired the famous Pokemon character, and it's just as energetic in real life. Pikas live in the cold, mountainous regions of China, darting between rocks and storing food for the winter like tiny survivalists. And despite their adorable appearance, they're incredibly tough, thriving at altitudes where most animals wouldn't last a day. When they're not gathering food, they spend their time chirping loudly at each other, which is basically Pika language for "stay off my lawn." The Yangtze giant softshell turtle, the world's rarest turtle. With only a handful left in existence, the Yangtze giant softshell turtle is one of the rarest and most mysterious animals on the planet. This massive pancake-shaped reptile can weigh over 200 pounds and spends almost its entire life underwater, surfacing only to breathe. For years, scientists searched for a female in hopes of saving the species, but so far, efforts have been met with heartbreak. If this turtle disappears, it will take thousands of years of evolution with it. The Asian black bear, the moon bear with an attitude. With its jet-black fur and signature white crescent-shaped patch on its chest. The Asian black bear, also known as the moon bear, looks like something straight out of a fantasy novel. Unlike grizzlies, which rely on brute force, moon bears are expert climbers, spending much of their time in trees, where they lounge like oversized cats. They have massive paws, powerful limbs, and, most importantly, a serious attitude problem. They may look cute, but they're known for being far more aggressive than their American cousins. If a moon bear decides you're in its way, it will not hesitate to remind you who's in charge. China's wildlife is an insane mix of adorable, ancient, and absolutely terrifying. Whether it's the vampire deer, the kung fu tiger, or the pancake-shaped turtle on the verge of extinction, one thing is clear. This country isn't just home to incredible culture, but also some of the most fascinating creatures on Earth.